Hi, everyone. Welcome to our monthly webinar. Colin, I am so excited to have you as our guest. I think this is the third webinar we've done together, maybe fourth over the years. And you have built such an incredible global brand, and you've worked with some of the leading properties around the world and event professionals. We're so excited to have a fireside chat with you about how you built your brand, your founding story, and also how you leverage your content to move clients or prospects through the sales funnel to actually inspire them to sign. So thank you, Colin, for joining us. I
Always a pleasure, and I love being with you, and I'm looking forward to our hour together.
Thank you so much. And while people are joining us, if you want, you can actually go into the chat. I always like to know where people are zooming in from. And I have to say, Colin, we had over 600 registrations over the last week.
Wow.
So it's exciting to have such a big name on our panel. And you can actually change your chat to everyone. And you can actually share where you're zooming in from and your company name, anything else you want to share. We're happy. Oh, we have people from San Francisco, all over the world, Charleston. I actually saw in our registration, we had some folks from London that registered, from LA. I'm out here in Cater Source, out in LA, zooming in. And Lillian, thank you as always for joining me as my co-host. Lillian is our SVP of Operations and Customer Success. And you are so close to everything that's going on with our roadmap and what we're building. And I'm so excited that you're going to be here with me today.
Excited to be here and excited to see a lot of familiar names on this call as well as some new names. So welcome everyone.
Yes. But before we get started, Colin, you have a global footprint. You've done celebrations for close to 40 years, roughly 40 years. You just had your anniversary. You've done events for Oprah Winfrey, head of states, Kim Kardashian, dare I say, my icon. Don't judge me for that. And 11 books, I believe, 11
11
books.
books, and we're just getting started.
You're just getting started. And what I love during the pandemic, you really launched this Thrive hospitality business, really helping hotels and properties around the world with their events program. Tell us a little bit before, and while people are joining, tell us a little bit about your business, and then I'm going to ask you some more questions.
Okay. Well, actually, Thrive really started because I got married just before the pandemic on the
Yes.
22nd of February 2020.
Wow.
And I came back to big wedding bills. And as you know, our industry literally shut down for probably what, a period of nearly 3 years, right? So I figured I needed to keep my team busy. And I'd been doing all this consulting and all this work in hospitality. So I started Thrive. And this was the ability for us to really focus on teaching brands about how to create proactive customer service, bearing in mind that the most important thing is to get your guests and your customers emotionally connected to your brand, right?
Yes.
So I called my last book, The Gold Standard, giving your customers what they never knew they wanted. And that during the quiet time of the pandemic allowed me to start working with hotels and hospitality providers on guest experience. It wasn't just banqueting, it was more really about how we make you feel and being able to harbor and to be able to build that culture to deliver proactive customer service. Because that is the key that changes everything today.
Yes. And so it's beyond just events, it's how people feel when they, from check in to check out with their full
Yes,
experience.
and looking for experience to be able to connect with you emotionally so you become emotionally connected to the brand.
I
Just
love
like
it.
we are with all of our customers and all
Yes.
of our clients, right? We really look after them because we know there's a sister or a cousin or someone coming down the line who's going to get married soon.
Yes. Well, you've done an incredible job with a diversified kind of service offering. You're known for really experiential events around the world. But I will say we have about half the people on this webinar that aren't familiar or are new to PartySlate. So I'm going to give my 2-minute overview on PartySlate, and then we're going to shift our focus back to you.
Go right ahead. I'm standing in the wings.
So I know we've talked about this before, Colin, but they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Just a quick story. We've been working with the Beverly Hills Four Seasons for many years, and it's just a stunning property. They do some of the most high-profile celebrity events in the world. But when you go during the day for a tour, a couple was coming in for a wedding. They wanted a dramatic entrance, and this is what the hallway looks like. It doesn't look bad, but during the day, it's very plain looking. And the Four Seasons was able to access their past photography through Photo Hub, and within seconds, they could show the couple how this hallway looks at night when it's draped and lit. And they actually experienced like what it could be the night of their wedding. And that was just so important because people can't visualize what your spaces look like or what something could be without using your past photography as a key selling tool. And so the reason I'm sharing this is I know, Colin, you can go to the next slide. Your team is leveraging PartySlate and in the past other tools to actually pull in that storytelling from your past events, from the explore to the connect to the commit stage. And we feel that content is your currency. And so last year, we launched a new tool, and I've wanted to do this for like 7 years, called Photo Hub, that uses artificial intelligence technology. And you can go to the next slide, Lillian, that actually will pull in and tag every photo. I know, Colin, we have 30 years of your content in Photo Hub. Every single photo, from as small as a wedding aisle to an ice sculpture to a mountain setting. And within seconds, I don't care if you're a social media person or an intern or a salesperson on your team, everybody can find the photo they need for their sales opportunity within seconds. And what I'm so excited about is without the new AI innovations, we could never have brought this tool to market 3 years ago. But we are now leveraging cutting edge computer vision AI technology, and we've trained it for the events industry so that you can now have no more dumpster diving in Dropbox or what I call doom scrolling looking for that photo. Now everything is at your fingertips. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this, but I'm so excited that we brought this Photo Hub tool to market last year in beta and had the official launch in New York next week. So that is what my intro is to PartySlate, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But Colin, just to give people some context setting, how did you first get into the events industry? What is your founding story?
Oh my God, it's a long story. It was 40 years ago. 40
Yeah.
years ago, I was living in South Africa, didn't believe in the political system, didn't want to be there any longer. Figured, where could I live where they speak the same language and I can start, investing my hardest working years in a system and in a country that I believe in.
Mhm.
So I came to Los Angeles, speak English, very similar weather to South Africa. I
Yeah.
had $400 because you
Oh my
couldn't take any
gosh.
currency out of the country at the time. Big dreams, an omnipresent suntan, and one well fitted suit, and I got started. And I started a small catering company, and I just come back from Europe, and that summer before I was, cooking all this amazing Mediterranean fare with a small little catering company. I started doing these small dinners. I
Yes.
was doing a dinner in Malibu one day, and the housekeeper knew Bruce Willis, and through Bruce Willis, he was this new kid starting a show called Moonlighting,
Yeah.
and
I
I
love that
met him.
show.
Exactly, I met him, and I did a party for him, and Barbara Streisand was there, and Schwarzenegger was there, and all these
Yeah.
people were there, and I really kind of started our events business.
Yeah.
And it's where I started from a small catering company. 3 years later, I was sitting in front of Hugh Hefner, and I got to plan the world's most famous bachelor's wedding. I had
Yeah.
no clue that it was going to be such a huge, massive media story all over the
Yeah.
world. And that kind of like labeled me as Mr. Wedding. And
Yeah.
got started in the industry. And, it's been 40 extraordinary years
Yes.
that have taken me 17 million miles around the world,
Wow.
visited almost 100 countries. And I'm as curious and as passionate and as excited today as when I got started.
And how, tell us a little bit, you're known for your really immersive experiences and, just creating things that are very memorable. How did you come to create these experiences? How did you build this expertise?
You know, I think I always say you have to learn how to dream, right? And it costs
Yeah.
nothing to dream. And I'm a big, big dreamer, right?
Yes.
And the bigger you dream, the bigger the results can be, right? So
Yes.
it always starts with a big idea. And then at the end of the day, I think I have a natural sense of style and elegance that has
Yes.
salt and peppered all those decisions and creative decisions I've made along the way. And I've always wanted to please people. I'm a pleaser, right?
Yes.
I started as a caterer, and I'd rather give 10 gifts than receive one,
Yes.
Rather than buy a pair of shoes, I'd rather go and buy a set of dishes because I can share them with nine other people.
Yes.
And as a result, it's been this want to always stay in touch with pop culture, to understand what people are doing, what are they listening to, and to really stay. I really don't like the word trend, but I
Yes.
love the idea of always being able to create new ideas. Because
Yes.
trends go as quick as what they come, right? So
Yeah.
you want to do things that are sustainable. You never want to do something that's so trendy. You say, "Oh my God, I can't believe she wore this or did that or we did that," right?
Yeah.
So it's about a sense of timeless style and elegance. Those are kind of the hallmarks that have guided me from the beginning to the end.
I love
And
it.
at the end of the day, I think at each moment, whether it's a cocktail reception or a launch of a product, you want to always have that big wow moment. You want a guest to walk and say, "Oh my God, wow, I can't believe they did that," or "How did they do that?" Right? And it's those elements of surprise and delight that keep people tantalized and excited, and also understanding how important timing is, right? It's the
Yes.
one thing in the world that doesn't cost 1 cent, right? And we've been to weddings before where you waited 40 minutes after the printed invitation time for the bride to walk down the aisle. During cocktails, they went off to the beach somewhere to take pictures and left you drinking for an hour and a half. Or you
Hmm.
ended up at a reception where you've been there for 5 hours and there's no sign of a cake and you went home tired, bored, and drunk, right?
Yeah.
But if you work with timing today, you bring great production value. Right? It's also
Yes.
about respect. If you really respect other people's time, you know, particularly in weddings, a wedding is not just another big party. It's an
Yes.
opportunity for a couple to make a joint statement of style. The first
Yes.
thing you can do is start on time. I made a
Absolutely.
pact with every bride I've ever worked with that you walk down the aisle no more than 15 minutes after the printed invitation time.
Yes.
Yeah. I do
And
cocktails for like 45 minutes. So by
yeah.
the time you look at your watch and we've got people moving, it is the hour, right? And if you front load these things well, people dance till the sun comes up. But when you have all these lags and you look at your watch waiting for the next thing to happen, you've
Yes.
lost
Yeah, I think the best events that are run, it's kind of like you're not thinking about time. It's like you're flowing from one place to the other, and you're not like, oh, I need an appetizer. I'm something like if that's the key is really, really a tight timeline, and the flow is really everything. And I know you have a team that works in different areas, and you have some new folks joining from marketing. How do you guys use imagery to guide clients towards decisions? So you're in a new conversation. Of course, you're qualifying this client and clients qualifying you. How do you leverage past photos to help tell your story or tell the right story to this client?
it's first of all, nobody reads anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. So the picture is worth 1,000 words, right? And before we worked on all these different platforms that took forever. Because
Yes.
if you didn't search exactly, or you didn't search the exact date, or you didn't
Yes.
search exactly how something was filed, you could be lost in a haystack. And every time
Yes.
you brought a new employee on board, particular person in marketing or social or digital media, they needed access to be able to find your imagery. And I always found that that was the roadblock. That was
Yes.
the bottleneck, right?
Yes.
And working with PartySlate and ProHub allows us, through your AI technology, to be able to write in a search, and you've got multiple different filters you can add, and literally within seconds, you've got everything you
Yeah.
need. So
Yes.
we used to send documents about like how we work, that we explain them to the client, what our process is. And it was, a 3-page letter.
Yeah.
Now that's a 6-page document, and if they are going to get married at the beach, we can search beach weddings in a
Yes.
particular place, salt and pepper them into the document, and all of a sudden we've got something that's really, really dynamic, and they feel like we're speaking to them.
Yes.
And with something that would have taken me 2 days to do to gather the information, we can now do in the drop of a dime.
Yes.
That's
Well,
and that's the game changer.
it's so exciting to hear that because what we feel is you have, these 30 years of photos, but maybe in your head, you're really only thinking of the last 5 or 6 years. You could have had a stunning beach wedding 8 years ago or 9 years ago that's really relevant, and now it's at your fingertips. Lillian, why don't we actually just share a little bit especially for the people that are new. We'll start at what we like to call the front of house, which is the public profile page. And Colin, since I've known you since the beginning of PartySlate, we met at Engage. And I'm like, I remember like yesterday, I'm like, I got to get a selfie with Colin Cowie. Like I really idolized you. and you've been a big supporter since the very beginning. This is where PartySlate started to create a complement to your website, to your Instagram, as a portfolio sharing tool, a way to build exposure. And what people really like is you have 58 events in your gallery, and they might be looking for a corporate event. You do fabulous corporate events, rehearsal dinners, dinner parties. You mentioned before you love a beautiful elevated dinner party. Now they can actually see that. And for Google and SEO, all these secondary links, all this rich content interlinking gives us an advantage over some of the profile pages out there that are a lot lighter. And we found people spend the most time on the profile looking at your real events, but they also like to look at what venues has Colin Cowie worked at. In the vendor connections section, you can click at 17 venues that you've worked at recently and get a feel for the type of places that you do your events. So this is a stunning page, a great example of this beautiful public profile. So this is kind of phase one of PartySlate. We spent 8 years building this. Last year, we built our beta of Photo Hub, and I want to make it really clear that it is private, private, private. Your Photo Hub, think of it as an AI-enabled Dropbox or storage and sharing system for your photos. So you can have your celebrity events, your Kardashian events, your Oprah events that you're not allowed to share publicly. Everything is in your private Photo Hub. And Lillian, maybe we could just to give people an understanding, a few searches. Like Colin, you looked for caviar the other day.
Yeah.
So you're like Colin and caviar. Within seconds, it can find caviar. And I know I get really geeked out excited about this, but there is no manual tagging happening. We used to have interns right out of college tagging every photo,
Image by image by image,
image by
one at a
image.
time. Yeah.
That's done.
Yeah.
That in the old days, alt tagging for SEO, for accessibility, done. AI disrupted that completely. So something called computer vision, our AI technology is looking at every photo and finding anything with caviar. Is it 100%? No, it's 99%. It is very, very accurate. And then you could quickly select a few of these, and Lillian, maybe you can just show it, but then we can jump to Colin's photo board. You can click, click, click,
It's
and
so
actually,
easy. In looking for this, if you know, I've already made a photo board on Caviar that I picked earlier. It takes less than 5 minutes to make a mood board, right?
yes,
Like this was a Caviar mood board. So I went to those 137 images and I think I picked out these 11 and it took me less than 5 minutes to do,
yeah,
right? And I've edited exactly what I needed to tell the story. So if a client is looking for Caviar and
yeah,
this is the best way to tell the story.
yes.
And so the ability to be able to put a mood board together so quickly is a game changer.
And so what Lillian just did is actually showed what the client will see. You actually your brand at the top, a title, and the photos. This isn't meant to be a proposal. It isn't meant to be a mood board. It's not going to replace your documents, although we did integrate with Canva, which is really great, and we're integrating with other platforms. But if you're having a meeting and they're in your office, you could have this ready to go and just go through the slideshow version and say, hey, I'll send this to you afterwards. I know you really want caviar to be part of your experience at the welcome party. And so if we could just save you a couple hours of time and the photo wrangling, and we call it dumpster diving with Dropbox, like going in an album, going out of an album, trying to find that right photo. This is what Photo Hub is all about. And I know, Colin, you made a couple other of photo boards that you made. Like, let's go through a couple of these.
Just wedding aisles. And there's people say, I'm looking for an unusual type of wedding aisle. It doesn't have to be white, could be serpentine, could be pink, could be burgundy, right?
Yes.
Could be grass. So this is
And there's
just,
your wedding, Colin, which is
there's
so
my
cool.
wedding right there.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was amazing. Um, and you get to generate a board like this and copy a link, and it doesn't take long at all to do. And
Yes.
beforehand, this would have taken such a long time, as you said, going from one gallery, looking through all the images, and then going through the next gallery, and then trying to gather them, put them in one spot. It does all the work for you. I mean, look at this for under wedding cakes. I must have about 2,000 wedding cakes in my database,
Yes.
and I was able to make this selection very, very quickly.
It's incredible. And again, the AI technology behind it is not from manual tags, it's automatically created. And so, Colin, how the technology works is actually we use the computer vision, it quickly scans the photo, and it creates like a 9 to 10 sentence describing everything in the photo. And that's how we actually search these photos so quickly. And I remember this one wedding that you did in the desert. If you put in Lillian, mirrored arch or mirror arch or something like that. Um, Again, it could take hours to find these stunning mirrored arch. It
No,
found,
no, that's Tiesto. That's Tiesto's wedding, the world famous DJ over there. And the one on
yeah.
the left, I did Insane Barts. This was my mirror theme. The one on the left was for two men who wanted a really complete minimalist contemporary wedding. And so, two complete different juxtapositions. But
Oh,
you'd be
I'm
able to search something like this in 2 seconds and be able to share it with the client.
Yes, I love it. And then the other thing we did is we added something called an album tag. And so we worked with your team and we looked at your website, and this is really easy to do. We put some settings like mountain and beach and farm, and we looked at your website. And within seconds, you can actually create an album. If you think about like if you use Apple Photos kind of works in a similar way. So this isn't file management, this is photo management. So a photo can live in many different albums. It's not copied over, it's just brought in dynamically. And so look at I mean, I'm obsessed. Look at these stunning mountain type weddings that you've done. And again, all of this is automatic. And of course, your team, you guys can edit those, you can keep adding the best of, or you can actually just search mountain wedding and it will come up. I like using a combination of best of photos that you have ready to go, and you can do real searches. Like these beach weddings are absolutely stunning. So album tags are a way of filtering your album. So let's say you have 400 albums or 500 albums. It's hard to like manually go through all your albums. So you can actually add an album tag for if you're a venue, you can have an event space album tag, and you can have your best photos from the, drawing room to the ballroom to the courtyard space, and you could keep adding albums. And Lillian, remind me, we did another album tag too.
Yep, we did one that was on event inspiration. So if, Colin, if you had a bride who came in and was looking for, I think exactly your example, creative aisles or creative outdoor ceremony setups, because of the way that we've set up the album tags, it's really easy to have access, immediate access to these curated sets of event inspiration.
Yeah. The other thing we did that is great for marketing teams is we've added Instagram tags. So, Colin, you're the person on your team that leads your social media, and I know you do a lot of social media posting too. You can actually find a photo if you have all the credits connected to that photo, which we make it really easy to do. You can actually copy the Instagram credits over directly, and within seconds, you can download that photo, post to Instagram with all the credits. And then Lillian, maybe we could just show Canva really quick too. So Canva, this isn't Colin, your Canva,
Yep.
because we obviously can't have access to it. This is PartySlate's Canva, and we're doing a big LA red carpet event. You can actually search red carpet, and any red carpet events we've done in the past or photos will instantly come up with the Photo Hub AI tagging. And if you have mood board or proposal templates, we started with Canva. We're looking to integrate with PowerPoint, Google Slides, other proposal systems. You can easily drop your AI tagged photos directly into your templates. This has been one of the most popular features with our Canva users is just that access to the filters and the AI tagging directly in Canva. So let's go back to Photo Hub. And Lillian, if there's any questions along the way on how the technology works or how you can use it, please feel free. Or any questions for Colin on how he's using it or his business, please feel free at any time to ask questions. So Lillian, back to kind of our album organization. And Colin, tell me a little bit more about how your system worked in the past and how it's different now that you have this AI tagging.
So we've been creating events for decades, and we have an extraordinary, really huge archive of work. And over time, that archive became a little fragmented across all the different systems. So as our team grew and our work became more global, we needed something more intelligent, something searchable, and something that was secure. So PhotoHub gave us this centralized, structured way to preserve and to our creative legacy while also keeping it very accessible and usable when we need it.
I love it. And I think the interesting thing is we talked to your Rob, who kind of leads all
Yeah.
your systems and your tech in the past. You kind of had nested folders, right? Folders within folders within folders.
Yes.
And it was kind of a useful way to keep events together. We added date filters, we added the AI tagging, the album name searches that don't require you to have this big nested group of folders that is almost impossible for a new person that's coming to your team to understand it. Like it might have been in your head because you were there the whole time, but you can't scale your company with just everything that's in your brain. So now it's unleashed to everyone. And Lillian, can you walk through a few of these filters and how people use those?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we already talked a little bit about album tags, but I think beyond some of the examples that we showed, I know, Colin, one of the things that you had mentioned to us previously was your team is often searching by category. So, if you are talking to a couple who is looking to host a wedding, what you want to show them is going to be very different than maybe a corporate client who's looking to host a gala. And so, let's say you have an example of a client who's looking for a stage. I know you have a million stage photos in here. Obviously, these are from across a bunch of different events. Maybe though you have a client who's only interested in galas. Now we filter by gala. And this is the type of specificity that these are all stages that were specifically done for gala events. And so with this type of search, it took 2 seconds to do this. And I think it just allows your team to be a lot more nimble when they're live in a meeting, understanding what the client's needs are, and just helps to build that trust and the fact, makes them feel like you've heard them, you understand what it is that they're looking for. And I know you mentioned you had an old system where you're searching through, this event that I did 3 years ago with this specific client. And let me then search through my whole folder. It's probably 1,000 photos that you have from that event. Let me search through the 1,000 photos to find that photo of a stage. Instead of that process, your team's able to do this workflow now.
Yeah. And even a specific brand name. So you have, there was a sign on a stage with a brand name. I can't remember which one we used when we were walking through this. Um, Lillian, which is Ubuntu,
Yep.
correct?
It's
Yep.
one of our
And
foundations, one of
yeah,
our
it's a
values.
foundation that you've worked with for many, many years in a row. You can actually find those photos just through doing an AI search. And then it can guide you to the actual full album. Once you click in, you go to albums and photo boards, anywhere that photo is found, you can go back to that album and actually see the full album. So again, it's really meant, like I like to say, like my mom who's in her 80s could use this. It's meant to be like, if can do a simple search and you can share photos on like Apple Photos and you know how to do that, you're going to know how to use this. I don't feel the same way about Dropbox. I find Dropbox and other photo file management systems a little bit clunky and hard to use. This is so beautiful. People are like, is this public? Can my customer see this? The answer is no. This is private. You have your public profile page, but you have your private photo hub to help you organize and store and share your content that fits into your workflow. If you use Canva, that's great. If you use Instagram and you want to share easily there, this is what we really had a goal to simplify your workflow and make it easy for everyone to find the perfect photo at the perfect time. Lillian, what else did I miss that we wanted to ask?
Well, Colin, I know your team has been growing quite a bit. I'd love to hear from you what the experience has been like for someone who's new on your team. You've been doing events for 40 years, right? So there's a lot of history here with the types of events, the types of content that you have. What did that onboarding experience for a new team member look like before, let's say a year and a half ago, versus what does that feel like today for you?
It was impossible before because I'm looking for a needle in a haystack, and I'm the only one in the company who knows what that archive looks like 40 years deep. So it
Yes.
would take a long idea to go look at this, go look at this, and then have to go and look in the galleries. And within the galleries, they have to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what the particular event was, the setup, what the black and white images. Now it's much easier. So when someone joins our team now, they're stepping into decades of design history. And having that archive organized in a structured way allows them to understand our aesthetic, our standards, and our level of detail that we're known for. It
Yes.
accelerates the learning curve and creates more consistency across the team, especially as we're working in multiple different markets,
Yeah.
right? So it allows everyone to immediately, it's because of the AI is such a game changer. As,
Yes.
as you saw within moments, we're doing a pitch for cakes, for weddings, whatever it might be, and we can turn out that document within moments versus before it really was like looking for the needle in the haystack.
Yeah, and we'll send over to the team how you can actually add an app-like link to your iPhone or to your iPad so you can go directly into your photo board, whether it's a venue that's doing a tour or it's a meeting, because you don't always have your laptop with you. And again, the doom strolling, I've been at events like, oh, Julie, I want to show you this event. And like it takes like 6 minutes for them to find the photo. I'm like, okay, okay. But like we want you to have that in seconds. So when you have that opportunity, it could even be to show an event partner something that you're excited about to build a relationship. You have it at your fingertips. So we are excited. I will say, Colin, there's a lot of exciting things we're building, and we're working with some leading venues and with your team to actually build together. We're excited very soon to add on easier ways to search, more filtering. Lillian, I don't know if you want to share some of the other things that are coming next on our roadmap.
Yeah, I mean, right now I think we have you can search by when photos were uploaded, but of course, I think in your case, Colin, you're not uploading photos from 30, you didn't upload these photos 30 years ago. They were taken 30 years ago. And so what's really cool about some of
They had
the
to be scanned.
Yes.
yeah,
Remember?
Some of them
So
had to be.
those were all on film.
uploading
Yes.
wasn't even a concept
Yeah.
back then,
Yeah.
right?
That took 10 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what we are going to do though is not just upload date, but the actual event date. Like when was the photo actually taken? And so maybe not for the scanned photos that you have, but for any digital photos, it does actually come with that data on when that photo was taken. And so this isn't anything that the team has to manually tag because I know how many hats people in your shoes wear. I know how busy they are. I think our goal here at PartySlate is to reduce the amount of manual work that you have to do. I mean, as you can see through all of this, the goal is really it's all about time saving, making this as easy as possible for you. And so with that, we can take some of that metadata that's behind that photo, make it easy for you to search. So let's say you do remember I have an event from 2018 that had stages that I want to pull. You could then filter, search for 2018 and pull those stages
Yeah.
specifically. And we're just designing more and more ways to make this flexible for you, to make it flexible for your team. The other thing with photo boards, I don't think we mentioned it yet, but these are all editable too. So once you create it, you can use it for, many different purposes. Let's say you have more wedding cakes from 2026 that you want to add in here. It's really easy to add it in. Maybe you want to replace some photos. It's really easy to delete them as well. So it's completely customizable for whatever it is that you need.
And you can move them around as well.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
And you could sort them. And the one other thing we didn't mention is the shared with me. And so, Colin, our future vision is how can we make it easy that you get the photos from your photographers automatically if you're credited? So let's say you have a photographer partner, they put it on PartySlate, they credit you, it automatically, or they share it with you, it automatically just shows up in your photo hub. And what we love about this is it doesn't require you to download a Dropbox and then upload to PartySlate. It saves a step. So we're actually in talks with some of the leading photographers on how we can make their life easier in the sharing of photos. And remember, this is all private. This is not public. Nothing is going on your profile page. How do we make that so seamless that this photo hub will build while you sleep and less of the uploading process? Again, uploading is very easy. It takes seconds to add a new album and to import from Dropbox or other places. But we want to take all of the friction out of the event industry photo sharing that gives you the maximum time saving in your day. One last thing, Lillian, if you could go to PartySlate Pro homepage, if you can go right to the home. Colin, we got some feedback from people when we did our beta launch that it was kind of confusing. Is this public? Is this private? And so what we did is we made it really clear with our official launch that you have a Photo Hub product and you have your profile manager. If you click into your profile manager, just to give you a quick view of that, that's your public profile page. And so if you go to your real events under Manage Gallery, you can actually see all of the events that are on your public profile page. And if you want to add an event to your public profile page, we made it really easy to click add, and we won't actually do it now, but you can see you can upload it from Photo Hub. So let's say you wanted to add the wedding cakes album to your, I'm not saying you should, but if you wanted to, you can upload your photo boards, your albums directly from your Photo Hub or from Dropbox or Google Drive or even from your directly from your computer. So the two tools, PartySlate Pro, PartySlate is the headline, work together to save you time. But we made it more clear that Photo Hub is your private, AI-driven archive searching and sharing platform, and your profile manager is how you update what the public sees. And so since we've launched that, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback that it's much clearer because people are like, wait a second, no one's going to see this, right? This is a celebrity event, this is private. We've made it very clear that these are separate products and they work together, but they are separate.
I think, Julie, you make such a great point because I get questions about this too sometimes, where it's nothing on PhotoHub automatically goes onto public profile. So none of that will happen unless you opt in and you choose proactively to go into public profile and import from PhotoHub. But it's really private storage. That's how I would think about it. And I think, Colin, it's part of what gave your team a lot of confidence in truly moving away from your old storage system into actually using PhotoHub. And I mean, I think everyone here got a quick preview of the amount of content that you have on here. That is certainly significantly more than what you want for public marketing purposes. And it's really because of that separation that has enabled your team to be able to do that.
Yeah. And for the venues, I know we have a lot of venues on the call today. We've also started to do more integrations. So if you click on integrations, this is how you can actually see your Canva integration. It's a one-click integration. And we've also started integrating with CRM systems like Triple Seat. So any of the big platforms like Amadeus Delphi and Honeybook and others, we're integrating so your inquiries can go directly into your CRM just to save you a step in the process for your qualification and your tracking. I see David Landgraf. Hi, David. HubSpot is coming. We have it on the list. We're actually working on how do we integrate in through multiple CRMs with use of a technology that can integrate to multiple at the same time. So that is on the roadmap for this quarter to make that really, really easy. But Colin, let's go back to Photo Hub really quickly. Just knowing that this was a big decision to decide to move 30 years of content over, I wanted to tell people on the call any level of membership with PartySlate, and we do have a new tools only package that is lower cost if you're not interested in being boosted in our directory. Making this decision was a big one. I know our team worked with you. You're doing some of the migration, but we are offering to anyone that's a member up to 100 albums, and maybe we'll even do more, Lillian. Let's say 150. Oh, she's going to get mad at me for saying that. We will, we will migrate. We will transfer that for you. We've got a team underneath Lillian. Lillian, can you walk through the process of how we work with Colin's team and
Yeah, I
what we
mean,
do?
I think at the end of the day, if you're looking at these tools and you're thinking to yourself, this would be so helpful for my team, but I feel overwhelmed thinking about how many photos I have on Google Drive or Dropbox or SharePoint, wherever it is that you currently have it. I'm overwhelmed with thinking about what it would take to move and transfer my entire library over. That's what my team is here for, honestly. So we want to make this useful for you. We want to help get you set up with it. And so how that works is we would obviously need access to your photo library. So whether it's Google Drive, Dropbox, wherever it is, there would be one easy email for you to just share access to. And then within 7 to 14 days, my team on the back end will put everything in here on PhotoHub. So it's all private, like I said, private storage. Nothing will be visible on your public profile. And the way that it works is all of the folder names in your Dropbox or Google Drive will be totally reflected in here as well. And so you're not losing any of that information. Let's say you do have folder hierarchies where it's 2018, wedding, Chen wedding. All of that information will still be in there and transferred over. And then from there on out, your team will be maintaining it, but it's one, after that, it's maintenance. When you get photos in, kind of like the same way you would drop them into your Dropbox or drop them into your Google Drive, but you have everything set up in here. Our goal, like I said, is to make this useful for you. We want to make sure that we're building a tool that's helpful for you, and we want to make sure that it's easy for you to get started with it too.
Yep. Absolutely. Great. So, Colin, many people submitted some questions in
Great.
advance for you. I would love for you to share. This is moving a little bit away from Photo Hub, but what advice do you have for planners that want to move into the luxury space, that are getting their business started and want to elevate into these larger scale budgets and experiences? What advice do you have for them?
I think it's important to keep your business and your work as global as possible. I think it's about offering the best guest experience that you can for your clients. I think your clients today are gold, right?
Mhm.
So, and it's all about how do you listen? We all know that every client that comes to us is speaking to five people at the same time, right? So it's how do you get your foot in the door? And it's interesting, and this is kind of going to go back to Photo Hub for a second, is that we found that the first people to respond, usually the person who gets their foot in the door, is the person who almost ends up with the event, right?
Yes.
And then our first piece of communication with them is like, are you having a beach wedding? How many people? We'll ask them to fill a bit of information for us. We can then generate a response that's photo driven and make
Yes.
ourselves stand out in the crowd. And that's why I wrote my book, The Gold Standard, giving your customers what they never knew they wanted. Why? Because we don't need another wedding planner. We don't need another product. We don't need another service in the world. We need to learn how do we grab attention in saturated markets, right? And how do we stand out in the crowd? And that comes from proactive customer service. And what I mean by proactive customer service is how do we use data, AI, technology, information, like you've just been talking about now, and be able to create a guest experience, right, where we anticipate the guest's unanticipated needs, right?
Yes.
Tell them what they want to know, what they want to hear. And if we dig a little deeply, we can find that, right?
Yes.
I think that's how you start to grow your business. I also think, we know for a fact that if you want to stand out in the crowd, right, you need to make sure that your Instagram page looks amazing.
Yes.
That grid needs to look incredible because almost every bride is ticking through either through Instagram or through TikTok. Some
Yes.
people maybe on Facebook. And if they like what they see, there's
Yes.
a chance they'll go to your website,
Yes.
right? If they go to your website and they spend 30 seconds on your website, it's considered a lifetime. There's a good chance that they'll reach out to you for information or they want to find out more about it. That's the first foot in the door, right?
Yes.
So make sure that Instagram, your social media
Yeah.
tells your story. You've got to
Yes.
love and I also say this all the time. Don't post anything for the sake of posting. You have to love
Love
every
it.
image, right?
Mhm.
And there's no crystal ball to this. You never know. You can post one thing, get 15,000 likes. Post something you like the next day, and you get 1,000 likes or
Yes.
20 likes, right?
Right.
So I think it's about, making sure that you shine in social, making sure that your website loads, your website says who you are, differentiates you from your competition, and
Mhm.
gives them a reason to look further. And it's not about 1,000 things anymore, right?
No.
It's about having fewer things. Great style comes from ruthless editing, and
Yeah.
that begins with content, right? Don't confuse it with 75 different galleries to look at. Put up three or four in each category that are going to tell your story, right?
Yes.
And we know that today's Gen Z is all about immediate response, right? She can call Uber Eats and get food in 20 seconds.
Yes.
You can search for something, get the information she needs. Why do you think we should deal with us any differently? She
Yeah.
wants information from us immediately.
Yes.
So how do we grow our business and get more into the luxury world? It's really about how we respond to all these inquiries and how our push information looks. And what does our digital photo print look like, right?
Yes.
Our
Yeah.
footprint. And what are we, how do we sell ourselves?
I love that. You got a lot of positive feedback in the chat about this comments, and I think that the fact that you're editing and you're feeling confident about those posts are really important. I do think the analysis paralysis. Someone mentioned that in the chat, like overthinking, like will this do well? Won't it do well? Do you feel good that it represents your brand? And put it out there and learn, learn, learn. And we always say if you have access to all your content, your photos are at your fingertips, you can be a better content marketer. There could be a fabulous event you even forgot about 10 years ago that you want to do a beautiful poolside reception, and Photo Hub can help surface that content. Nobody knows when these photos were hosted. They could think this photo was from last weekend. Nobody knows. Your older events are still relevant if it's the story you want to tell. And you do a great job on both your kind of personal account and your business account of getting people to get a glimpse of you and who you are, but also more importantly, what you stand for and your business. And that's so, so important to do.
Thank you.
Lillian, are there any questions that have come up?
I think we have some photo hub related questions. Someone asked, will there be an app at some point? Chelsea, believe me, we are always taking feedback like this, and we are, like I said, we're trying to make it easier for you. And so stay tuned. I can't promise anything, but good to know
It's,
that you
it's
want
on
an
our
app.
radar. Many people have asked for an app. We are going to integrate video into Photo Hub. There was a question about that. We are going to have more filters, easier way to search. The goal is not feature dumping and just adding as many features as possible. It's listening to our power users, listening to, Colin and your team that are using this all the time. Colin already gave us some good user experience feedback. Do not hold back. Please give this a shot and build with us. We want your feedback. We think we can't be the best product in the world without consistent feedback from our community. And so I know this is not a shy industry. So let us know what you'd like to see. And even in the chat right now, if there's things you didn't see or things you like, we'd love to hear your perspective on what would be helpful to save you time and to give you better access to your photos and your content. That'd be great. But to wrap up, I know we're running low on time. Lillian, why don't you walk through a little bit, and then Colin, I'm going to ask some closing questions, but a little bit about how we can help.
Yeah, for sure. So we have a QR code here. If anyone is interested in what you just saw, you want to learn more, or maybe you're already a member and you want to do that one-time Photo Hub transfer. Let's say you have your photos on Google Drive, Dropbox, wherever it is, and you want that help with getting it set up. You can scan this QR code, put in your information, and someone on our team is going to reach out to you to just make sure that we can get you set up with whatever it is that you're looking for. We really are here to help, even if it's about the public profile page. I know we didn't spend a ton of time talking about that today, but if you do have questions about that, this would be the right place as well to scan. We do also additionally have some upcoming events that I am going to just quickly share with everyone. So we do have some events that are coming up. We have Miami coming up really soon, Boston in May, Chicago in July, Dallas in August, Boca Raton in October, Denver in November. We have a packed year, honestly, New York in December, and a lot more dates that are being finalized too. So if anyone is interested in joining us for these events, we do prioritize our members first, but you can scan this QR code as well to learn more about what that would entail.
So Colin, kind of just to wrap up, I know people always want to hear from the experts on kind of biggest insights on what's helped you be successful in business. And I've heard you, I remember when you presented in Miami, you talked about the blue ocean, just so many things that inspired me during that talk. What advice do you have for people that are looking to take their business, or whether they're running a venue, whether they're in sales, to the next level? And I know we don't have an hour. I wish you could do that whole presentation from Miami because it was so amazing. But tell us any final thoughts on thinking about taking your business from where it is today to what you dream of.
The most important thing is to empower your team, right? And you need to surround yourself with the right people. If you hire well, you don't have to fire. And it's really about how are you able to empower your team to make 80% of all the decisions. And in order to do that, you need to have all the SOPs, the standard operating procedures, all in place, everything documented.
Yes.
So instead of just being, there's the type of planner that walks on with 3 phones, right? And then there's the type of planner who is insanely organized, and there's a procedure for every single thing,
Wow.
right? I don't leave one note unattended. And it's the same thing for every single job description, that you know what to do, how to do it, what the bar is. And that way, if you have all the right procedures in place and
Yes.
protocols in place, that allows you to operate with consistency. If you can operate with consistency, you can then start to scale and bring in a second staff member and a third member and a
Yes.
fourth team member. And
Yes.
then you grow your business. But you're only a good manager if your team can make 80% of the decisions and allow you to move on to the next picture. That's probably
I
been the
love that,
success of
Colin.
my business.
I love that. I love that so much. And people always ask me that are newer in the industry and they're a solopreneur and how do you make that decision to bring on a coordinator or bring on an assistant? And I always like to say, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. And I know it's easy to say that because it's scary to make that first hire, but if you are confident in your business and your plan and your vision, making that hire and training them through these SOPs. And with artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, there is no excuse for not having written SOPs because you can create them in about 5% of the time that it once took to dump everything in and create SOPs for all of your work and what your expectations are. But I think it's really important to have that process and the SOPs and then unleash decision making at the level you should not be making every decision as the business owner. You've got to unleash and trust your team, otherwise you will never scale.
That brings me to you want everyone to be aligned, right? So you
Yeah.
must have in every business a vision. The vision comes from the owner.
Yes.
What do we want to accomplish? And B, a mission statement, which should come from your team or how we're going to get there. So
Yes.
this way, and you can have 5 or 6 guiding principles.
Yes.
And if any single staff member is making a decision, they can refer to the vision, the mission, and the guiding principles, and that will
Yes.
help them make the right decision. It
I
allows
love
you
that.
to keep everyone in your team aligned with one theme, one team, one mission, one goal.
I
And that's
love
how you
that.
succeed.
And you can also apply these to part-time, even if you have not full-time, you have part-time helpers or you have other people that aren't full-time, at your business, you can still expose them to what you expect when you're working on an event with you. Yeah.
100%. You can have 5 different SOPs for people that are casual labor,
Yeah.
whether it's someone who's doing accounting, someone's doing the loading on a job for you because you don't want to be in the job site for 24 hours. These are the list of things that we need. This is how it needs to be accounted for. And so
Yes.
that way you've got the ability to monitor what's happening and you
Yes.
make sure that people are accountable for the tasks that they've been given.
Yes, I love that. I love it. So that's so inspirational and a good reminder to all managers out there that it is your job to have the vision and align your team around your annual objectives, your quarterly objectives, and getting them inspired to figure out how to reach those. If you tell them every last thing, it's called micromanaging, they're not going to stay with you. You've got to unleash the power of your team. And I always joke, hire people that are smarter than you. I do that all the time. I from
100%.
Lillian, I learned
100%.
from Phil, from John, my co-founder. I absolutely could not build a globally scaled platform without incredibly smart team that has ideas often that are better than my own on how to achieve our objectives. So thank you, Colin.
Thank you.
I really admire your business sense, your creative sense. You pull it all together to not only build a great team that really admires you and is inspired by you, but that also has built a client base that is second to none in the industry. So congrats on all your success. And thank you for joining our webinar. Every time we have you on, I learn something new, and I appreciate your belief in our new next chapter of PartySlate, which is Photo Hub. Working with your team has been incredible. And every time we connect, we get new ideas on how we can make the product better. So thank you for your partnership.
Pleasure. Thank you, my dear.
And thanks
Appreciate it.
everyone for joining us. And if you would like help on your profile page, we'll also send a follow-up email with a link to the recording. Someone asked if we're going to send that. Yes, we'll add a link to your recording. Anyone that wants to hear this, wants to learn from Colin, we will send that out to you. And we are doing monthly webinars. We actually have, Lillian, what is our next webinar? Remind me.
Yeah, so this month in March, we're going to have we're going to have a webinar that's specifically focused on venues, how venues use Photo Hub. We'll also have a different one if you're not a venue for planners, caterers, or other vendors on how they use Photo Hub. So that's coming up. And then next month, we have a webinar with Cindy Novotny, who is also a legend in the hospitality industry, focused on how you can close leads faster.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Colin. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Appreciate
Appreciate
your
it. Thanks,
time and
everyone.
Lillian, thank you for being my co-host. I like to pretend this is my TV show. So
Always
this
fun.
this is my opportunity to really bring new ideas to the industry. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.